Okay, I think we can start now. Good morning, everybody. I have just shared my screen. I hope everybody can see it. Please, Elena, confirm with me that you can
perfectly.
see. Okay, thank you very much for joining today's session. This is the second webinar that we're having for the day. Welcome to the Peer Learning Club number 2 about advocacy and policy influencing. My name is Valentina De Vico. I'm the communication manager of the Skillman team. And probably those of you who have seen my name is because I also coordinate the communication activities. So I'm the one who has sent you the invitations to join the webinar today. I'm going to be hosting this webinar together with my colleagues today, Mr. Giovanni Crisona, the president of the Skillman team, and Elena Romanini. They will interact with you later on in this presentation to give you more details about the expectations that we have for the peer learning activities and the kind of work that we are planning to do with all of you. Also, as I have already mentioned in the invitation email, we have planned some interactive activities with you today in order to start having already your contributions and idea in a very simple but also very organized way. So before giving the floor to Giovanni and then to Elena, let me just give a quick introduction of the Skillman network and the main features of the peer learning clubs. So Skillman is an international network of TBET providers, universities, industries, individuals, and policymakers that focuses mainly on skills research and training in the advanced manufacturing sector. The network aims at introducing and exchanging skills. It provides innovative curricula, and it also facilitates the cross-working activities among our international members. The network was created in 2014, and since then it has actually exponentially grown. Nowadays, we are proud to announce that we have 560 active members belonging to 84 countries in the world, also outside of Europe, where it originally started and was created. So for us, this is a very good achievement. The Skillman network cooperates with some international organizations. Some of the representatives of these organizations are connected with us today, so thank you very much for joining. As you see from your screen, one of these organizations is the Assembly of the European Regions. Also, IVETA, the International Vocational Education and Training Association, represented by Julian Ng. Cumulus, the International Association of Universities and Colleges of Media, Design, and Arts, and EAPRIL, the European Association for Practitioner Research and Improving Learning. Now, the management of the Skillman activities in general, and including today's Peer Learning Club meeting, were facilitated by all these organizations, and we are very proud to say that we are in collaboration and in partnership with the European Training Foundation. Now, getting back to the real meaning and reason why we're all connected today and the main features of the peer learning clubs, let me explain to you. I understand that you might already have an idea about it, but let me give a general overview of what are these peer learning clubs and why you are involved in this process. So the peer learning clubs are 4 permanent focus groups of international experts like you that we have put together and coordinated to facilitate the discussion and the joint work on 4 different specific topics. As you see from the screen now, the 4 peer learning clubs have different focuses. The first one is about the advanced manufacturing sector, of which we had a webinar at 9 this morning that was very successful already. There was a very high participation from our experts. The second peer learning club, this one is about the advocacy and policy influencing. Then the peer learning club number 3 is about word-based learning and standards. And finally, the peer learning club number 4, that is called Train the Trainers, and it focuses more on the operational dimension. So each group, the idea is that each of these 4 groups will meet regularly to discuss and work together on the topic. So specifically, the peer learning club 2, this one, is made of, is composed by experts who will meet regularly after this meeting, and later on we will explain you how we will coordinate these activities. And at the end of this process of joint work, each group will create and realize and publish a policy paper. So in the end, as the groups are 4, we will have 4 policy papers published. So to get things started yesterday in the invitation email, we asked you already to do some kind of brainstorming and try to reflect on what is the word, or what are the words that best represent the concept of the Skillman peer learning clubs. I would be glad today to share with you some of the results of the poll that we launched yesterday. And as you see, the participants to these polls have given a very diverse spectrum of words that you can see right now on your screen. The first word, that is the biggest one because it was given by most of you, is collaboration. So many of you, at least, believe that one of the main features of these peer learning clubs is the collaboration among the members. So this is, of course, a very important key point of these group. Also, participation is another term that I see in the second position, let's say. So it was given by many of you. Participation, of course, is another feature that is very important because the realization of the publication of this policy paper in the end will happen only if we will have an active participation by all the members. So your participation level is very important. Of course, this is also an opportunity for everybody to exchange and share knowledge, which is a keyword that I see also as one of the main answers from the participants to these polls. Of course, knowledge, learning from each other, collaborative approach, contribution. These all belong to the same kind of concept, that there's actually a flow of knowledge among the participants of these groups. Innovate is another word that I see on the screen, and it's a very positive and has a very positive connotation on this group, and it's actually very relevant on what we want to do, because the innovation is part of this sharing knowledge process. So that is very important. Then I see policy making, increase, reinvent, which is kind of synonymous. Exchange, again, network. So this will be a valuable opportunity for all of you to be able to network and increase, broaden your networking pool with these new people that you're going to meet along the way. Interactive participation, again, this is going to be very interactive, and each of you can have a participatory approach. Expertise, grouping, interaction, sharing, peer, build, again, participative approach, skills, pooling, and common baseline. So all these words revolve around the idea that this is a group that will be sharing knowledge, that will be sharing valuable opportunities of cooperation, and we will start from here on. Thank you very much for participating to this first poll, and let's move on. Let's move to the time frame, because the peer learning clubs have a very important time frame to, let's say, respect along the way with the activities that we'll be proposing. As you see from this time frame here, the peer learning clubs were created in 2019, and they will work together in different cycles until 2021, so until October of next year. Now, as many of you probably know, Skillman every year organizes an international forum called SIF, that stands for Skillman International Forum. Now, this year, due to the current global pandemic, the international forum was postponed until December. And why do I mention this particular date? Is because in our idea, the peer learning clubs will create or produce their policy paper by December, by the date of the international forum. So we will be able to promote these kind of papers also at the conference itself. So the objective will be to have to work together with all of you on one policy paper that will be published in December 2020. So I hope that Giovanni is connected now with all of us. Giovanni, are you here? Let me see if I can see Giovanni, because I would like to give the floor to him actually. I'm not sure, maybe you have to unmute yourself, Giovanni? We cannot hear you, but I can see that you're doing some things with your screen, so you are connected, I guess. Just unmute yourself if you can. I hope you can hear me, Giovanni.
Do you mind, Valentina, if
Sure.
I take the...
Do you hear me?
Okay, yes.
Please, Fabio. I have to finish the set. You see my screen already?
Yes, we do.
Yes. Okay.
Sorry, Fabio, what did you just say? Did you want to say something?
Well, I was just taking the occasion of a couple of minutes before Giovanni's set to tell to all our entities about the next webinar about funding opportunities we are planning for the 11th of June. I can confirm that the 11th of June we will have a webinar focusing on the new investment fund from the European Investment Fund about a piloting initiative. They will present, the managers of the European Investment Fund will present the Skills and Education Guarantee pilot. So I suppose, Valentina, you are already working on a mass mailing to invite all our members from the network, but I would just take the occasion to remind this next meeting. So it is planned for the 11th of June at 10 o'clock in the morning, Central Europe time. Now I see that Giovanni is ready, so I mute my microphone again.
Thank you, Fabio, for your contribution.
Thank you, Fabio, for the information. Yes, I have now to give an overview on the vision that is behind our work and our effort. And to do it, I will help me with some slides. I will introduce the idea that we have worked together with Professor Rupert McLean, and that brought us to publish then the final document of the Skillman International Forum, the last one in October 19 in Italy, Florence. I will take from that final document, the policy paper that we have published, I will get the idea of the main challenges that we have discussed, and then where these challenges comes from. So we discussed about the mega trends and how the mega trends are affecting the global economies and the societies, and how they have implications for our world, the world of work and Tibet. The takeaway message from Professor McLean was that the economic and workplace changes, and I was mentioning also how it is true now with the COVID period, are making human capital increasingly important. We see how these aspects are valorized by the difficulties that we are facing now. And we discussed that the skills are the foundation of the human capital. So in particular, we addressed all the 17 points of the goals of the United Nations, the European goals. In particular, we also addressed the green skills, and we discussed about transferable skills. And not the conclusion, but the fact that the skills are the foundations made us to reflect that these skills in particular is what we have to discuss about concerning the Industry 4.0 and the challenges of the 21st century. This brought us to the conclusion that we need to re-engineer the Tibet for change, including an holistic approach. Of course, that maybe this is not a common thought. Not everybody are convinced that to have an holistic approach could be the solution. But in our regard, we think that we need to make a re-engineering of the Tibet for change, rethinking with a bottom-up process, like we are doing now. This is the meaning of the peer learning clips. That is required for Tibet to meet the workforce and to meet the workforce needs and the wider societal concerns. And we had to make a re-engineering of the Tibet, not only for the labor market, but for the society. And for this reason, we have to adopt an holistic approach, to put all the components together, including in this game the ethical dimension. So what are the challenges that we have in front of us? What are the questions that we can make to us, to each other, to reflect? This was also what we discussed and what we want to bring on from the last international forum to the tables, to the round tables of the peer learning clubs. So the impact and the characteristics of the curricula in the society of tomorrow, which could be how the Tibet organizations could help in this identification of curricula and design of the curricula, and what could be the consequences of a Tibet system limited to just respond to the productivity demands, no equitable, no peaceful and green society needs and requirements. And what could be the cost? We see now with coronavirus, maybe we start to understand that one thing here, one act here afflict other people in another part of the world. Anyway, what could be the cost for such a society, and what could be the ultimate consequence for the planet if we don't implement now the proper way for the future? And who could pay the price? The price for these mistakes if we don't act properly in this regard. So we need, I think, this is my opinion, and I want to bring this opinion to your attention. We need to include ethical skills in the advanced manufacturing skills sets. So embedding with a solid and consistent arrangement these skills in the curricula for the future. And in doing this, we have not to leave anyone behind in accessing to the advanced manufacturing skills, especially thinking to the last underdeveloped economies. Because this is very important to avoid conflicts and to make a peaceful world. In other words, we have to embed ethical skills, so we have to give an ethical impact to our actions. And this is the reason why we are together in the peer learning clubs, to allow an easy communication among each other, because the conferences are nice, but you need the time to discuss in small groups and to have opportunities to express yourself in a comfortable and easy way of communication. And this ethical impact that we have in front as the mission that we want to give to our education systems represent, like in my opinion, for the Tibet sector, like a sort of shift from the role of education and the religion. So the role of Tibet in forming the consciences of those who learn is changing. This is not just a practical learning and something technological solutions that you have to learn. There is more, talking in terms of ethical impacts. There is more, and there is a shift that brings from the human capital theory to the human capabilities approach. Because all the qualifications that we are going to design with our curricular revisions have a role in education, but not only in education, have a role in labor market, and have a role in the society in general. So how we can make to coexist these three roles, the society, the education, and the labor market, with the high-speed changes, the commitment to innovation and the requirements that the business ask to the educational institutions to make. This is the question. Of course, I don't have the answers, but I like to think that the understanding of the future skills, of the future of the skills, and the sourcing of consensus from all the level that we can involve, the territorial level, the regional level, so all the levels that can change the game with a bottom-up approach is the way. We need to create a value for the future of the society, and not only for the future of the business. And this is the reason why we need to involve all these parts. And we have to create the needed social conditions that are necessary to implement an equitable understanding of the future. So we need to implement a technology foresight exercise that is not only related to the technologies that we need, but is also related to the skills that we need for these technologies. In other words, we need to anticipate the needs of skills, we need to understand the future of the skills, and we need to make this as a continuous exercise, a sort of skills anticipation wave. The Skillman network already implements a skills anticipation wave that is designed to be addressed on the smart specialization platforms structures. but we need to do more. We need to extend this model and to see also for other solutions. We need to use artificial intelligence tools to catch the moment, to catch the ideas and the information. So we need to implement a skill foresight exercise that, just repeating maybe, is not just a business process and cannot be restricted to the sole education sector, that is instead a societal project, a project of everybody, and that needs consensus and is an interaction at all levels. The meaning of our peer learning clubs is to start to push on this idea. To arrive where? To arrive to our moment of celebration, that is the Skillman International Forum, the yearly Skillman International Forum, where we close a cycle to move on to the next one. So the arrival of our peer learning club exercises is the step of the International Forum, and then the continuation every year in the same participatory approach. So we need to design the society of tomorrow, being aware that the curriculum of today is the society of tomorrow. And being in charge of the design of the curricula, I think we have big responsibilities for the future of the society. We need to design the society of tomorrow, making the learners depart more conscious and responsible for the future as the results of the curricula that we design today to be implemented today afternoon or tomorrow. Yes, what is the final target of our efforts are the policymakers, because the policymakers can change the game. I think we have the power, we have the role, we have the possibility, we have and we need to have an impact, a strong impact on our counterparts that are all the policymakers, not only at the supranational level like the European Commission. We have a lot of policymakers that we can address, and all the peer learning clubs members, and as Elena will explain to us later on, all the members of the peer learning clubs have then the opportunity and the duty, if they will accept this duty, and the duty to spread the word, spread our ideas. We have time to discuss, time to design our review, to prepare our policy papers, and then to spread it at all, to spread them at all levels, at local, regional, national, international level. So this is my wish, that we will succeed in this drive, that we will be able together to clarify our ideas about the future of skills in advanced manufacturing, and then able to produce meaningful reports and to share at all levels these reports to have a real impact in this game. Thank you very much for your attention, and congratulations for this excellent organization, Valentina, and the rest of the team. I remain connected in case we need to discuss something else. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Giovanni. Now I think it's time to give the floor to Elena Romanini, who will show us the main features of the peer learning clubs.
Thank you very much, Valentina, for this space, and good morning to everybody. Thank you for your participation. Well, as my colleague Valentina said in her presentation, we have the first interaction today. We have to fix some concepts that we can consider a baseline, a knowledge baseline, through our collaborative work within the peer learning labs. So please look at the screen, and you can access to this game, this sort of game for voting and fixing some common concepts, you can join this space via PC using your browser and the link presented here, or using the QR code through your smartphone. So once entered in the environment, you can use as access code PLCs, as we can see together.
I have already written this in the chat section if anyone needs.
Okay, so thank you very much for your support, Valentina. We have some seconds for voting, of course. For your votation, take into account the inspiring intervention realized by Giovanni Crisona 2 minutes ago. And remember some main concept he presented to us in order to boost and to support our reflection together. Okay, this is the first topic we are asked to vote, vision. So the curriculum of today is the society of tomorrow. Yeah, remember, ethical issues at the basis of our holistic approach to peer learning clubs, of course, not only as cross-cutting approach of the Skillman platform. And you can vote. I fully agree. I partially agree. I don't agree. I totally disagree in case. At the moment, we can see real-time results based on more or less 50 and 50 shared between the two first possible options. I fully agree with the 60% of the total result. So I think a good result for proceeding. Remember, this is a sentence that is a sentence that could accompany us for future step in order to co-design new curricula and advanced manufacturing sector, but also thinking about a general approach to TVET excellence. Please, Valentina, thank you. We can go on. So second topic to be voted, potential. We can include the ethical values in the skills sets. Once again, I fully agree, or I partially agree. As we can see, right now, more or less than 90% of the voting participants has chosen I fully agree regarding the possibility and the strategical issue to include ethical values on the new co-designing of curricula and skills sets. Yes. Once again, a very good result. So we can see together and consider the third votation, possible votation. Motivation. So we have the power as participants and members of the PLCs to influence the TVET policy agenda in order to change TVET, as Giovanni said before. Thank you for your votations. We have still some seconds to conclude this task. So you can access to the game in any moment, of course. The topics are open, both via PC and via smartphone. So now, some common rules for cooperative work, and next step we are asked to develop for the success of our peer learning plans. So our rules. First of all, before explaining and sharing the methodology, the working methodology, we have to consider that, as Valentina said before, the Skillman platform is a worldwide platform that continuously works for increasing awareness of TVET sector, advanced manufacturing sector, and relevant public and private stakeholders on importance of innovation and approach a participative approach to innovation. So dissemination can be considered as a cross-cutting activity, a cross-cutting function, really realized every day. Then, absolutely in a continuous way, we realized training sessions, webinars, online appointments. Peer learning clubs are very particular, very specific, because are considered as a collaborative environment, mutual learning environment, and knowledge sharing environment for try to decide common strategies of intervention in order to boost stakeholders' engagement and change of TVET, moving toward the TVET sectors of the future. So if we have a look together to the graph, we can see the 4 phases through which we will go and we will work in order to reach our main result that will be at the hands of our work a concrete intellectual output, a publication, a policy paper, as Valentina said before. Let's have a look at the phases. The first phase that will be start with the next step, the next meeting that we will plan together, is focused on identifying priorities, problems, and challenges for the sector. So society and advocacy for the Tibet change. The second phase is plan strategies. Of course, as collaborative working and reflection environment and template, peer learning clubs are thought for co-design strategies in order to decide together how to move, to engage relevant stakeholders, as said, at any level, from local level to regional, national, up to or international. Thinking about also our networking. At the end of the second phase, we are asked altogether to obtain the first step, the first draft of the publication. And with this publication, we can consider it as a common tool, a concrete tool, to start our action in our context and to start actively our actions for stakeholders' engagement. So we can, through these publication, first step publication, we can pass to the third phase, take action of the peer learning approach. Then we can reach the last and the third phase, thinking about an evaluation, a common evaluation, the shared evaluation of the complete publication. We will be realized during our working timeline, so until December, when we will discuss together and evaluate together the final produced publication and related policy paper under the framework on the Skillman annual celebration, international forum, as Valentina said in her presentation before. So we have 4 steps to develop and 1 publication to reach. Thank you, Valentina, for this next step. That is a representation of the participatory learning approach that inspire in any moment our peer learning clubs. Then we can move on the following slide. Common rules and common tools for working together, as said before. So we will manage any action, any inputs, and any intervention from today to December using a common workspace that is Basecamp. You can access to the share workspace through these links, 1 link for each peer learning club. The spaces are just prepared. The Basecamp environment is very simple and very user-friendly. So even if it will be the first time to you, if you can use these, it will be very easy to cooperate together. Next slide is useful to see together the inner work environment. So Basecamp is organized through different rooms. There are the rooms you will meet entering after subscription. The first room is a PLC to-dos, considering these as the list of the tasks. Of course, the main tasks and the main objective of the collaborative activities will be decided together according to the collaborative approach, of course. The facilitator, the coordinator of each PLC will support and animate the search. You can improve it, you can assess an environment in any moment. The second room is the PLC schedule. This is a calendar for listing and scheduling the activities we will be involved in. The PLC peer exchanges is a chat, peculiar chat for each PLC. Through this chat, it will be possible to exchange any information, any input, let me say in an informal way. Then we have probably the most important room of the collaborative workspace, that is the PLC review. Consider this room as the room where we will cooperate together for the production, the realization of the PLC publication in the two steps as I described before. The first step will be finished according to the timeline after the two first work phases, and the final output will be realized within the Skillman International Forum and evaluated by December 2020. So if you have a look at the room, you can recognize as chapters of the future publication the main actions, the main phases of the collaborative work approach to its PLC itself. The last room for doc compiles is considered as a repository for exchanging any source or any information that could be useful for our work and for reaching the common goal of the publication and related policy paper. Thank you, Valentina, for supporting me in with the next slide. Yes, this is the focus of the PLC review. As I said, you can see also not only the structure of the room and the chapters of the publication, but this is also the cover of the publication we will realize through this collaborative work together. So, next step, please. Yes, this is an overview. You can also check all this information also through the Skillman website. Of course, everything will be updated. And we will have 4 PLCs and 4 publications. Each publication will be focused on the topic specific for each PLC, and every publication will have a different cover, a different structure and content, and a final policy paper that will represent a sort of soft recommendation for our direct engagement as ambassadors of our review and joint strategy with stakeholders. Okay, once again, the overview of the 4 publication we will ask to produce. And yeah, the second step for our interaction of today, the environment for gaming is always the same, so you can access via PC or via smartphone. The access could be the same PLCs, so very easy. And yeah, just for continuing to fix in some main concepts that will inspire our mutual learning and cross-working, we can start with the first question. Thank you, Valentina, for your support. So, motivation. Now, just a moment. We have to answer to the first poll. Okay, how many phases are there in the joint work of each PLC? 1, 2, or 4? Some seconds to complete your answers. You have to choose one option, of course. Well, okay. 4, correct? Yes, we will work through 4 phases as shown before in order to co-design strategies, tools, and measures for intervention, common intervention, and stakeholders engagement at any level. So, what are the main objectives of the PLCs? Fundraising, self-learning, dissemination, peer learning, and policy making. You can vote, please. Thank you very much. Ten seconds for concluding the votation. Okay. Yes, of course, peer learning is your first choice, and we agree on it, but also policy making, and yeah, through a cross-cutting activities, as we saw before, a cross-cutting activity, dissemination and capitalization of results. How many publications of the PLCs will be made in total? Think about, of course, the reference to each PLC and the overall and the comprehensive work we will realize through the 4 phases. 1, 2, 3, or 4. How many publications? We will see the results of your rotation in real time in 2 seconds. Yes, 4, 1 publication and 1 policy paper for each PLC. Who are the ambassadors of the 4 PLC? All PLC participants, members of the EU Parliament, UNESCO members, and your students or trainees as VET providers. Some seconds for voting. Select an option, as always, of course, as you did before. Yes, perfect. This is very important. We are, as participants and members of the PLCs, the first ambassadors of our joint strategies, joint communications, and interventions for stakeholders' engagement and policymakers' involvement. So we have to collaborate for decide how to move thinking to us as first, the change, the expected change into that, which is the technology implemented to facilitate PLC collaboration, so shared workspace, as we saw before, Google Groups, Basecamp, Microsoft Teams, and Zoom. Well, of course, correct. Basecamp, it will be our cooperative environment for cross-working and mutual learning together until December. You can access through your subscription, as I showed you before, and try to act and interact with the different rooms. So who will write the 4 PLC official reviews or public publications and related policy papers? Experts from ATF, EU Commission or ESA, private company experts, and PLC participants. to your opinion about face. This is also very important to fix for common work through the next steps. Yes, PLC participants, of course, we will realize the publication through our work together, and we can also be supported by the partners of the Skillman's platform. But first of all, we will be the authors of the publications and policy paper for policy making and stakeholders engagement.
Okay, Elena, thank you very much for leading this quiz. I think now is the time to see who is the winner of the quiz, who answered the questions correctly. So Harry Bikas is the winner of the quiz because he answered the most correct answers in the least amount of time. So congratulations. Congratulations. And now I think it's time for our word cloud, right?
Yes. Yeah, it will be useful for fixing some concepts and keywords in order to start with the first phase of the PLC work, as we said before. So this word cloud will be useful for collecting your opinion through keywords, for thinking about future challenges, priorities, and relevant problems, crucial problems that could be useful as inputs of our future work together within the different PLC, in this case, PLC2. So the main focus of this PLC is empowerment and social equity dimensions. Remember keywords of the intervention of Giovanni Crisonal, social issues, equity, equality, ethical issues, and skill and anticipations, and co-design of innovative curricula and approaches. Thank you. It's very nice because we are seeing the results directly on real time on your screen. So dissemination, diversity, urgency, commitment, empowerment. You can choose also the same words as some of your colleagues, and we can see the words, of course, bigger than the others. Urgency is your first choice at the moment. So urgency to face and to discuss together and to start our reflection about these topics. So some seconds again for your votation, and then we can fix the word cloud, Valentina, and use it for the next meeting. This will be very practical and focused on the first step of the real work of the PLC after this sharing approach and
yes, Elena, we already have 3 big words on the screen already. So,
dissemination, urgency, and diversity.
I see there's a lot of participation to the word cloud, so that's a very good sign of participation as well, I guess.
Yes, also as input for the next meeting, we will plan the next days.
Let's just give a few more seconds because I see there's a lot of movement. So
yes,
someone has just connected. Okay.
Yes. So we can also see promotion, inclusivity, resistance to changes, national motivation, commitment once again, innovation, regional, inclusivity, consultation, yeah. Cooperation, yeah. It's also a cross-cutting approach to our work, but is also an aim because we are asked to, one of the expected results will be the stakeholders engagement set. Barriers, capacity building, relevance, common strategy, so challenges, problems, priorities regarding empowerment and social equity dimensions of TVET of the future. Inclusivity is growing. Also dissemination, yeah. Governmental commitment is a new entry.
Yes, I think, Elena, this is a pretty good result so far.
Yeah.
All the keywords that we have, we will use it from now on in the work process. So I think it's a good start. There's some more. Empowerment, action. So far, dissemination seems to be the first option, and at least.
Yes. Transversal approach consultation is a new entry, also interesting. So, yeah, I agree with you. It could be considered as a good starting point for the future reflection.
Okay, I think for now we can close the quiz. What do you think? Or we wait a few minutes more?
Up to you. My opinion, it's quite, yeah, the screen is quite rich of word for working on
right,
that.
Yes, I agree with you actually. For now we can, I think, can go back to the presentation. So we have come to quite the conclusion of this webinar today. I see with Elena we had a lot of interesting results, especially from this word cloud exercise that we just did. I don't know if Julian is connected now with us. Well, I don't see him connected now. Maybe he just disconnected. But anyways, I don't know if Fabio Croce wants to give a further contribution on this session, or if he wants to share any comments whatsoever. Fabio?
Indeed, stunning presentations from all of you. Thank you, Giovanni. Thanks, Elena. Thank you, Valentina. Very interesting. No, I don't have anything to add, only just to remind to our friends which were not connected in the beginning that those webinars, those peer learning clubs you are managing are one of the many activities we are carrying on during the Skillman, under the Skillman network. Stay tuned on all the other webinars we are planning on web learning funding opportunities, which will merge the contents also and will be boosted by the contents from the peer learning clubs. I mean, all those contents will be, of course, useful to go on with our ongoing activities on new call for proposals and new projects we can carry on. So we are expecting results from the peer learning clubs also to boost all the other activities. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Fabio. I see that Julian is online now. So, Julian, I activated your microphone, so if you want to give your contribution to this session, you're more than welcome. Please.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you everybody for participating in this very important project, because obviously we need to have a stronger voice, because we are all in the technical, vocational and education and training industry. And as you know, most of the time it's the universities that get all the big bucks from the government. And we need to also push our point, because we are a very, very important part of the educational ecosystem. So before we leave, I would urge you all to please complete the survey form, which I've pasted in the chat, just to give us some feedback about how you found this session and how we can improve, and what you liked or what you didn't like. That's me.
Thank you very much, Julian, for your intervention. I see that at this session, we have one representative of our partner AER connected with us, Agnese. I see she's connected now, so let me activate your microphone. Good morning, Agnese. I don't know if you can hear me well. I don't know if you want to add something to what we just presented today. Thank you very much for joining the session anyways.
Can you hear me? I'm not sure you can hear me.
Yes, we can. Hello.
Okay. So, can you? Okay. So, thank you very much for the introduction. We are actually a new partner in this project. So, for me, it was very useful to get this introduction. And I guess we will be in touch quite closely in the coming weeks. We are an association of European regions. Our network is composed by 150 regions across Europe. So we would be very happy to provide input on two sides. Of course, liaising this project with the policymakers, but also to facilitate the knowledge sharing, the collaboration work within the peer learning clubs.
Do you hear me?
I can.
Do you hear me, Valentina?
Yes, Giovanni?
Yes?
Okay, yes, I can hear you. Go on, yes.
Thank you very much, Agnese. Nice to meet you online and to speak with you for the first time for me. I'm very happy that you are taking active participation in this phase. I would like to remark that the role of the Association of European Regions is very strategic, and we are very grateful to you to share with us this opportunity to work together. The strategical fact is that you can address in this rollout strategy, you are easy to address for you. It's the natural channel, I think, to address all the policymakers at regional level. And this is exactly what we expect as an effect after the phase 1 and 2, to activate all the members of the peer learning clubs to interact with the counterparts that are the policymakers at all the level. And the regional level, as we know, is very important, especially for the European dimension, but not only. And your role is fundamental. So we have a great opportunity with you on board. I think is a very important and very efficient organization. And so we are also glad that you are part of the team, and I will not end to thank you again for this possibility that we have now on to work together in this idea that we can change the world of education, working together with common understanding in small groups and then going out to the large audience. Thank you again.
Okay, thank you very much, Giovanni, for your comments. Thank you again to Agnese. And I think by now I have added some comment in the chat sections for those who would like to add anything to this session with any contribution or comments whatsoever. So if there's no comments or any other things for this part of this session, I think we can wrap up. I think we can.
Okay, in this case, I would like to add one thing, because there are a lot of several very important participants, but in this approach of transversal interaction, I think that each one of us accounts for one of the components, number one. Each one of us is a number one member of the peer learning clubs, so there is no one organization more important than the other one. In this regard, I would like to thank you very much to all the participants, and for sure that we are not able to list and mention everybody. I would like to remember that this doesn't mean that we exclude them, and we are very thankful to all of you. And I would like to remark, Valentina, that all these initiatives of the peer learning clubs are driven together with the European Training Foundation collaboration and support. We have probably also in the participants connected now some colleagues from the ETF that I also thank you very much for their efforts and time. And this just to understand that it's a very large partnership, and all the participants will have support from our strong partners like the European Commission and other supranational bodies. Another connection that is ongoing, is not finalized yet, but is with Asian Development Bank and other organizations that we are contacting, and we are involving in this process. So to be able to spread our word to all the levels. Thanks, Valentina, for the time.
Of course, Giovanni, thank you very much. Indeed, what Giovanni said is very important, the interconnectivity of the network and all the organizations that are part of this process. And of course, they have helped and facilitated the organization and management of these peer learning clubs. So, as Giovanni said, thank you very much to all the organizations that were part of this and made this possible. I would like to remind you that this is just the first of the meetings that we're going to have for the peer learning clubs. This is just the beginning, the introduction. From now on, we will continue to work together. After this webinar, we will get in touch with you with all the instructions and the links to join our Basecamp platform, which, as we mentioned today, is going to be our main working platform for the peer learning clubs. And we will organize some subgroups, some smaller groups that will meet regularly. And to coordinate these kind of activities, we will use the Doodle platform in order to get the participation from all of you. I have some comments in the chat. Thank you. Thanks for joining. Okay, today's my first time. Okay, I'm receiving some positive feedback from our participants today, which makes me very, very glad. I think everybody participated in a very effective way to this session. So again, your participation to the future activities is very important for us in order to achieve the results that we are expecting from this work group. So I invite all of you to give your contributions to the work. Just hold up and wait for our further instructions that will happen by today at the latest tomorrow. So you will all be instructed with all the information and the details on how to continue this collaboration within your group. So thank you all very much for joining the session of today. In the afternoon, I remind all of you that we will have other two sessions. One for the Peer Learning Club 3 at 2 p.m. CE time, Central European time. And the last one will be at 4 Central European time. That will be focused on the Peer Learning Club number 4. So that's it from my side. I hope everybody enjoyed this session. Thank you very much for joining. Thank you very much for your contributions.